unbiased, fan-friendly Syracuse sports coverage on WSKO Syracuse. A Cumulus media station, the voice of the Central New York sports fan, The Score, 1260. Welcome to your home for local sports in Syracuse. Outside the Box Score with Mark Rowlands starts right now.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Outside the Box Score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Pat said he wasn't prepared for the close-up. Yep, it's a solo show today. Not to out Josh, but I woke up this morning and saw there was a Snapchat from him at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And he said, Mark's show is going to be a game time decision today. You know what? Fair. Absolutely fair. So, excuse me, no Josh today. Solo show, but thankfully, right now in the world of sports, there are plenty of things to talk about. The main topic, of course, being we are now through 2 days of the NFL draft. And one of the funniest possible things has happened. The man who was wearing New York Giant cleats, wore a Giants hat to an interview, was more than ready to play quarterback for the New York Football Giants. Shedeur Sanders has yet to have been picked in the NFL draft. Now, was I absolutely shocked after the first 15 or so picks that he didn't go? No. I think it's a kind of weak quarterback class. I think there weren't many great fits for Deion's son. But after that, when it was pick after pick after pick and still no Shedeur Sanders, then I see Jackson Dart get drafted by the New York Giants with the 25th overall pick. A pick I like, by the way. I like Jackson Dart. I said, okay, this is getting interesting. So he won't be QB2. We knew he wasn't going to be QB1. We knew that was Cam Ward. But he's not QB2. How far will this guy fall? Then you see, drafted at 40th by the New Orleans Saints, Tyler Shaw, the quarterback out of Louisville, who made his debut backing up Justin Herbert at Oregon in 2019. Guy was playing college football pre-COVID. He's older than me. He gets drafted. Not a good pick, by the way. I don't think that guy's very good. Then you wait a little bit, a little while longer. And it's like, this is, he's the only quarterback taken in the second round. Then all of a sudden wait a minute, Jalen Milroe goes off the board. Quarterback out of Alabama. I like that pick. Seahawks picking up Jalen Milroe. Their QB room just got a lot more interesting. Then 2 picks later, Cleveland, in desperate need of a quarterback, thanks to the absolute dumpster fire that is the Deshaun Watson situation. You're thinking, God, they have to take Shedeur Sanders, right? No, instead they take Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. So we are now 5 quarterbacks deep in this class without the guy that everyone was saying he probably won't fall past 5. You had Tennessee take Cam Ward at 1. You had Travis Hunter go second, obviously. Great player. Coming off a Heisman win. Abdul Carter, We all thought that was going to be pretty much the top three. Travis Hunter going to Jacksonville after a trade with Cleveland. It was originally supposed to be Cleveland. It's just wild. Stone said the Saints took a 26-year-old and the Browns took a Muppet before Shador. I can't believe it. Yeah, the Raiders could have taken him whenever, didn't. Giants, everyone thought he was going to be the next quarterback of the New York Football Giants. Now, we'll take Jackson Dart. Now, personally, like I said before, I like Jackson Dart. I think Jackson Dart's going to be a solid quarterback. I don't know about Shador. The athleticism isn't quite there. I mean, then again, it isn't with Dart either. But Dart has more arm talent. He was ranked by ESPN the 35th best overall prospect in this 2025 NFL draft. They are now through 102 picks. And he is yet to be taken. Stone says the fact that the Giants were so diligent on Sanders and still went a different way tells you everything you need to know. I need to know how this guy acted in his pre-draft interviews. What did he say? What do we not know about the young quarterback out of Colorado? Because something ain't right. For this guy, who, like I said, I'm not sold on his future NFL potential. But a lot of people smarter than I am are. Now, I don't want to go full Mel Kiper here, who has been doing a ridiculous job on ESPN's draft coverage. But I don't want to go full Mel Kiper here, but Dylan Gabriel? Tyler Shaw? That guy is not good. I just really struggle to find a football reason why Shador Sanders hasn't gone yet. Is it show? I've heard it pronounced Shaw and show. It's one I wasn't sure. It's Shuck? I've yet to hear someone say his name that way. That's wild. I've heard like 3 people talk about this guy. 2 people said show, one guy said Shaw. I never heard it pronounced Shuck. And to be honest with you, I didn't watch much of Louisville football this year. So, apologies to Tyler Shuck. But also, I would know how to say your name if you were a prospect that should have been taken 40th overall. All this to say as well, we've got 5 quarterbacks off the board. And I'm surprised Kyle McCord wasn't one of them. I thought he was going to be a 3rd-round pick. That was where I thought Kyle McCord was going to go. We've yet to see a Syracuse player drafted. I thought he would be the first one off the board, and I thought whoever got him in the 3rd round was going to be thrilled. I'm surprised he hasn't gone. I agree that with Pat in the chat, I'm surprised Gabriel and Milroe went before him. Absolutely. Will Howard is another one I thought would go before Shuck and Gabriel. So maybe, listen, I'm not an NFL draft analyst. I know that. I'm just a guy that likes to watch football. But what Kyle McCord did at Syracuse this year, what Will Howard did at Ohio State this year, I'm just surprised to have not seen them go yet when guys that I thought should have been drafted behind them already have been. It seemed like McCord's stock had done nothing but rise. And it seemed like, same with Will Howard, it seemed like both of their stocks just rose and rose and rose, even after the season ended. Which was impressive given that Kyle McCord set the record for passing yards in the ACC this year. Stone said a couple of his buddies are at the draft, and everybody is dumbfounded about the Shador situation and the rest of the QB picks. Every time one got picked, you could hear Radio Row all start chattering, laughing. It is dumbfounding. Absolutely dumbfounding. But I guess that's just the way it's going this year. Sometimes drafts aren't chalk, and this draft has been anything but chalk so far in the early part of the NFL draft. We're going to talk about more of the draft coming up. Going to get into the NBA playoffs, a little bit of NHL playoffs. Really good NBA playoffs so far. So we're going to talk about all of that and much more. Phone lines are open, 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. That's 315-671-1260. Or you can check out our Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter chats. I am live on all three of those platforms every single week. Twitch.tv/marker_box or x.com/marker_box. Or you can go to the Score 1260 YouTube channel. We'll be back in just a minute here on Outside the Box Score, your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. For the best local beer in central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score.
Lanny went to college and
Yeah, I know Shador was turning down interviews. I didn't hear that he only met with 3 teams. That's wild. ESPN mock draft competition for media people. Most anybody got right in round 1 was 8 picks. I've done a mock draft competition once, and it was on the Manchild show a couple years ago. I think I got 3. On Ryan Russillo's show yesterday, one of the NFL Network draft guys said a team showed Shador some plays and started asking him questions about them. And he was like, yeah, maybe this isn't the right place for me. Wow. Good thing he didn't go on Gruden's QB camp. I also love Jackson Dart being the second quarterback off the board right after his QB camp moment goes viral, where Gruden asks for his snap count. And he just a clap. Yeah, Shador just straight up refusing to identify plays does make Dion look real bad. But has the aura around Dion ever been around his coaching ability or his recruiting ability and personality? Because do we ever sit here and say, oh, Dion's such a great offensive coach? And I'm not saying he can't coach. I'm not for a second saying he can't coach, but it seems like more of the discussion around Dion is just it's everything else. Because he's Deion Sanders, with good reason. When prime time is the coach, you're going to get a lot of media attention. Yeah, he's a motivator. And he's done a great job at Colorado. Yeah, I'm very interested to see. I'm very interested to see the future for Colorado football with Deion as the head coach. I don't know how long he stays, but I'm very interested to see. Yeah, exactly, Stone. Obviously, he knows football. He's had nothing but success as a head football coach. But yeah, to compare him to like a Ben Johnson. Yeah, it's a coordinator. It's a coordinator run team in terms of the X's and O's, which is fine. That's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm very interested to see the future of that program. Also, damn it, I meant to take out the Sharkies ad. The funniest possible outcome is Shiloh getting drafted before Shador, which would never happen because Shiloh Sanders stinks. But that is the funniest possible outcome if he were to get drafted. Personally, I'm rooting for that. I would love to see that, even though Shiloh Sanders is not good. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. Been talking about the NFL draft. Shador Sanders still yet to get picked. We are now through 3 rounds. 5 quarterbacks off the board. Everyone had him as QB2. But I want to not talk about Shador Sanders for the entirety of the show because I think I'd get a cease and desist from Mel Kiper for stealing his bit. I do want to talk about the Buffalo Bills, who I think have had a very strong draft so far. Started off hot. Immediately, they're like, you know what we need? We need another cornerback. And they got one. Max Hairston, corner out of Kentucky, stands 5'11", 183, really solid career at Kentucky. He is very aggressive. He's going to immediately jump into the starting lineup. I like this. This is the type of help that the Buffalo Bills needed in the secondary. Big fan of that pick. Second round comes around. They take a D lineman out of South Carolina, TJ Sanders, 6'4", 297. Big boy on the defensive line. Just reading through the draft grades here for the Bills. I'm going to be honest, I'm not super familiar with the defensive line of South Carolina. Says he's got polished handwork, high caliber athlete, did very well at South Carolina in terms of his stats. Put up a really solid season in the SEC. That's obviously something you're looking for. We know about the size, and he's got good length for an interior rusher. I'm all about this. This seems like a very good pick. Pat said look him up. He looks exactly like Eddie Lampkin. I'm looking at a picture of him right now. He does look a lot like Eddie Lampkin. Very, very similar looking guy to the former Syracuse big man. And then they take an edge out of Arkansas, Landon Jackson, 6'6", 264, another big fella that the Bills need edge help. Von Miller has been an okay signing for them, but nothing special. They need another guy that they can really trust to rush the quarterback, so they end up taking an edge in the 3rd round. Fine with it. So far, I think this has been a very, very good draft. Well, yeah, I know he's gone, but the signing when he was there didn't really work. That's what I meant. It wasn't. Yeah, he tore his ACL and then he came back and would get a sack every once in a while and then not block or do anything else. This is also just my dad's mentality seeping into my brain because all he did watching Bills games was complain about Von Miller. It was just it was a nightmare watching Bills games with my dad, which I love doing, but all it was just, oh, Von Miller doesn't do this, Von Miller doesn't do that. He's just it was a nightmare situation. I do want to mention my Philadelphia Eagles as well. I know no one this cares about my Eagles. I don't know. We might have some Eagles fans out there. But love the Jahad Campbell pick, linebacker out of Alabama. Shocking the Eagles draft a blue chip prospect from a blue blood program to play defense. I would have liked if he was from Georgia just to keep this theme going from the past couple of years. But I really like Jahad Campbell. N'Kobe Dean's coming off an injury. Line him up across from Zach Bond, and this is going to be a really fun defense once again. And they also went defense with their second pick, Andrew Makuba, safety out of Texas. Eagles secondary was very good last year, with good reason, obviously. Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship and all the great D-back play that the Eagles got last year. Strength to strength. Just keep pushing. Keep building up this defense. Keep trying to win Super Bowls. The offense is good enough. It wins ball games. Keep loading up on defense and keep trying to win championships. Like I said, no one from Syracuse has been drafted yet. Pat earlier said he thinks Aronde is the first one off the board today. I would love to see Aronde Gadsden go somewhere where he can be used properly like he was at Syracuse. The only thing that kind of worries me about Aronde Gadsden, and there have been a lot of tight ends off the board. The thing that kind of worries me about Aronde Gadsden is I don't know if teams are going to feed him the way that the way that they should. Because he is essentially a receiver. But will they play him at receiver? That's what he should be more of a receiver, which is exactly what we saw with Kyle Pitts. And that's what worries me. Because I'm so fooled by Kyle Pitts because I'm still a believer. I still think the Falcons just use him wrong. I still think Kyle Pitts could be a really good tight end in the NFL. I'm just not sold on the Falcons using him correctly. And I worry about a situation like that for Aronde Gadsden because I think that guy should just be getting a ton of targets. He's big, he's strong, he's quick, he's got really good hands. That's how you use him in the NFL. I don't want him to fade off into obscurity as another third, fourth option tight end that gets the 4 targets a game, has 3 catches for 48 yards. That's not Aronde Gadsden. That's the type of guy you need to feed. And I'm hoping he goes to a pass-heavy offense that would be able to do that. Because that guy is such a tremendous player. And currently on CBS Sports, he's the 3rd best available tight end. I don't know. I hope he gets picked pretty quickly today because I would love to see him succeed at the next level. Kyle McCord currently listed as the 4th best available quarterback, by the way. Shedeur Sanders, of course, number 1. Will Howard and Quinn Ewers listed ahead of Kyle McCord. Personally, I do not think Quinn Ewers is better than Kyle McCord, but that's a conversation we've had on this show a few times that I'm just not super high on Quinn Ewers. In terms of running backs, there's a lot of them ahead of LaQuinn Allen. it's a very deep running back draft. We still haven't seen guys like Cam Scatabo go. We still haven't seen guys like Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn go. There's a lot of running backs in this draft. So hopefully LeQuinn Allen finds a spot. Would love to see him at the next level as well, because I think he could be a really solid piece at running back for someone in the NFL. He's so versatile. It's just, I'm not positive how many of these guys from Syracuse we're going to see go today. I hope all of them. Fidel Diggs will find someplace. Jackson Meeks, Justin Barron, Elijah Clark. I would love to see all of them end up somewhere in the NFL getting drafted today. But like I said, with LeQuinn Allen, there are a lot of running back options. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Pat said Scatabo is going to the Bills. I would love that. He would be so fun to watch in Buffalo. I know he's small, but he was so much fun to watch. And put him in an offense like Buffalo. I'd love to see him in an offense like Detroit, where they can, which obviously Detroit doesn't need him, but throw him in an offense like Detroit and just see what he can do would be so much fun. Jim said all 32 teams can't be wrong not drafting SU players, can they? Listen, it's certainly partially biased. Absolutely. But I think some of these guys can have a really productive NFL career, and I'm obviously rooting for them, given that this is a sports talk radio show based in Syracuse. We have to take another timeout. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on Outside the Box Score. Phone lines open, 315-671-1260 if you want to chime in. We'll be back in just a second. If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek.
Get more of.
Yeah, Jim, you weren't here earlier. I got a message from Josh at like 3 in the morning that he was not going, that he was a game time decision. Yeah, he was at Turning Stone. He was at Turning Stone last night until very late. So I give him a pass. Now, have I done this show at 11 o'clock in the morning after being out until 3 o'clock in the morning or later the night prior? No comment. No comment. The answer is yes. But I don't blame him. Pat says, I've done your show with cold sweats going from the night before. So have I. Listen, guy just moved into a new apartment. He's whatever. He wanted me to go with him. He texted me on Thursday. He's like, all right, pal. We doing this? And I was like, no. I doubt he's awake. I highly doubt that Josh is awake. Don't even need Zoom. Just do it all through StreamYard here. Yeah, I'd put the odds on Josh being asleep at minus 450. No golf this week. What are you talking about? Monday's going to be beautiful. Mark, I might need to call you for my half marathon. Yeah, your brother told me that you're running a half marathon, and I think that's hilarious. Good for you, though. Listen. I'll take your call in the middle of it's the Brooklyn half marathon. Yeah, Jim, the weather doesn't look as good this coming week as I thought it did. I'm going to be playing on Monday. I played yesterday. Yeah, Tom told me that you were running the Brooklyn half marathon, and I was immediately shocked by this revelation. Good for you, though. That's not even what he was doing. He was just like, yeah, Pat's running a half marathon. I was like, what? What do you mean? They made fun of me for drinking water last time I was home. That doesn't surprise me. That's a very Tommy and Connor thing to do. At home? That's funny. That's funny. When was the last time Connor mixed in a water? I know he's a menace. That's why I said when's the last time he mixed in a water? I'm not a blame the refs guy, but the mismanaging of the end of the game by the officials was inexcusable. I'm assuming you're talking about the Celtics game. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. Stone was talking in the chat, complaining about the officiating at the end of the Boston Celtics game last night because the Celtics currently in a series against the Orlando Magic, dropping game 3 last night 95-93 in the middle of the NBA playoffs. First round going on right now. It's been a good playoff so far. Some pretty close games. I like the NBA playoffs. It's really when the season starts for the NBA. Yeah, Magic 95-93 over the Celtics last night. Bucks 117-101 over the Pacers, and the Timberwolves taking a 2-1 series lead over the Los Angeles Lakers. Stone says Tatum was fantastic last night. He was. Dropped 21 in the first half, 36 points on the game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 10 of 22 from the field. It was good to have a classic Jason Tatum performance for my Celtics last night. I want to talk. We'll talk about the Celtics, but the series I'm most interested in, and maybe it's just because I've watched too much ESPN in recent months. The Lakers Timberwolves. Personally, I haven't been that high on the Lakers all season. Even after the Luka trade, which was huge. Pat said people forget the Wolves owner is my boss now. That is true. Pat, could you get a job with the Minnesota Timberwolves? And if you can you get me a job with the Minnesota Timberwolves? I think that's where this needs to go. I think we both need to end up working for the T-Wolves. I can barely keep my job with Grubhub. Yeah, see, that's why you need to go to the Wolves. You need to make a transition. The business transition, Pat. I'm like partially transitioned from full-time broadcaster to full-time golf professional. It's like you can make that transition. I think we need to get jobs with the Minnesota Timberwolves. But going into the series, I was not super high on the Los Angeles Lakers. I know they got Luka. I know it's a significantly improved team than they were on opening day this year. But I really like this Timberwolves team. Outside of one player in particular, who I'm pretty sure we all know, but the guy that started the global pandemic. Outside of Rudy Gobert, I really like this Timberwolves team. I love Anthony Edwards. That guy's a stud. Needs to, cool down the social life a little bit, maybe. But in terms of a basketball player, love watching Anthony Edwards. Julius Randle has been solid. Jaden McDaniels has been quite the revelation this year for the Timberwolves. He dropped 30 last night. Didn't average, a ton of points this year, like 12, 13 points a game, but can score in bunches. Where I look at some of the other options on the Los Angeles Lakers, past obviously LeBron James and Luka, who are incredible, clearly. But Jackson Hayes doesn't really do it for me. I really like Rui Hachimura, but not as a need a guy to go out and get a bucket sort of player. And Austin Reeves has been good, but I'm not fully bought in on the Austin Reeves hype. So now Minnesota takes a 2-1 lead in this series, and I don't know if they look back. Lakers probably win another game, but I think this series probably ends up in the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves, where I don't think the Bucks are in good hands. I think the Pacers probably take that series. My Celtics will be fine against the Magic. Knicks have looked not great against the Pistons. Pulled off a good win last night. But that was a game that they really shouldn't have let the Pistons back into. I don't know if this is going to be the year for the New York Knicks. But this squad does have a potential championship level ceiling. Just so many things that the New York Knicks can do. I've long been a Karl Anthony Towns defender. This guy's been one of my favorite players in the NBA for a very long time. And I think the Knicks are a great fit for him. OG Anunoby is awesome. Awesome. So much fun to watch. Mikal Bridges is a stud. Jalen Brunson is a stud. And Josh Hart rounding out that starting five as one of the more versatile both defenders and just players in the NBA in general. Yeah, is he going to score 35 a night? Probably not. Is he going to have 9 assists and 11 rebounds like he did last night? Or Thursday night? Potentially. That's just the type of player he is. He's so unselfish. He fits in so well with the rest of that Knicks starting lineup. I think the Knicks could make a little bit of a run this year. It would be really fun to see them in a series against the Celtics, which I'm hoping we get, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't know what's wrong with the Denver Nuggets. Well, actually, I do know what's wrong with the Denver Nuggets. It's the ownership. But the Nuggets fall down 2-1 against the Clippers. I like the Clippers. I think the Clippers are really good. James Harden is playing some inspired basketball once again in LA. Kawhi Leonard, obviously tremendous. The Grizzlies, not really putting up a fight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. My favorites to come out of the West. Everyone's favorites to come out of the West. Thunder were arguably the best team in basketball. But I think we're in for a fun NBA playoffs. Pat says we got to talk ponies on the program soon. Derby next week. I know. I'm very excited for the Kentucky Derby next week. I love the Derby. I love the Triple Crown. Pat and I talk ponies a little bit when we're together. I know Pat likes to place a wager or two on them. I enjoy placing a wager or two on them. So we will talk ponies next week with the Derby coming up. Obviously at Churchill Downs in Louisville. A lot of things going on in the world of sports, man. Golf going on right now. The Zurich Classic in New Orleans, one of my favorite events of the year. I love the partner format. See the Højgaard brothers, Nikolai and Rasmus, shot a 59 together in the first round of that. A lot of things going on in the world of sports. Pat says people are saying I might be Saratoga Pat. You might be Saratoga Pat. Some people might be saying that you are Saratoga Pat. I'm not going to confirm nor deny. But if there were someone to be called Saratoga Pat, it might be you, Pat. Jim says, any early odds if Josh is there next week? I think he will be here next week. I don't think he's going to spend essentially the night at Turning Stone back-to-back weeks. I got to ask him how he did, because there's no way he was at Turning Stone for that long and didn't place a wager or two on a game of chance. So I'm not sure how he did last night, but we will see. We'll have to ask him next week when he comes in. And we are going to take one time out really quick. We'll be right back here on Outside the Box for your home for local sports in Syracuse on the Score 1260. For the best local beer in central New York, the only place you need to look is Myers Creek Brewing Company, with 16 different beers on tap at both the Inner Harbor in Syracuse and the Palace that is the Cazenovia location. Myers Creek has something for everyone. Want a bite to eat? Both locations feature a kitchen with delicious pizzas, some of the best wings in Syracuse, and much more. Make sure to check out our friends at Myers Creek Brewing Company, the official bar of Outside the Box Score. Yeah, Jim, I just saw that. Thank you for tagging me in that. We'll talk about that when we come back from the break. That sucks. I mean, good for him. I wish him the best, but yeah. You got absolutely crushed at Aqueduct yesterday. Yeah, I haven't even checked up. I haven't even done any research on the Derby yet. I still have my my Naira bets money that I put in 4 years ago to bet on Triple Crown, and then they said, "Oh yeah, we're not going to let you withdraw that after I hit." There's a Netflix horse racing show now? I haven't even watched the Netflix Red Sox stuff yet. It also doesn't help that I don't have Netflix. That's true. I can research all the horses this coming week when I'm not golfing. Yeah, Stone, I did see that LT said Carter isn't allowed to wear his jersey. That's very fun. But also, of course, the number is retired. Do I think it's really cool that Warren Moon came out and gave Cam Ward permission to wear number 1? Yes, I think that's really cool. But can we stop trying for just random people to unretire numbers? And I know Abdul Carter isn't necessarily a random guy, one of the top picks in the draft. But do we know that he's going to be Lawrence Taylor? No. That is pretty funny from Abdul Carter. Hey, man, the worst he could say was no. Yeah, I don't know. Just let guys have their retired numbers. In college, it's different. Like the 44 argument at Syracuse, like it's a different thing in college, but in the pros, come on now. If anybody wants to wear 12 in New England, they should be shot in both feet. Yeah, like there are ways to do it. Yeah, like Alabama, LSU does the same thing. Where like there are certain numbers where it's like, okay, if you get to wear this, it's because we think you are special. But that's in college. Yeah, in SU lacrosse with 22. Like there's a reason Gary Gate, Mikey Powell, or was it Casey Powell? One of the Powells and Joey Spallina all wear that number. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the score 1260. We were just talking about in the chat during the break. We were just talking about how Lawrence Taylor refused Abdul Carter to wear his number on the Giants, which I think is quite funny. But we were discussing how colleges do number quote unquote retirements. Yeah, and Jim brings up SU basketball with number 44 and the whole Eddie Lampkin, Derek Coleman thing, which, okay, weird, strange situation. But we recently had this conversation with Sean Tucker at Syracuse, wearing number 34. And some people, when he was having that incredible year, said, give him number 44, a number that's been in the rafters for however long, thanks to the likes of Ernie Davis, Jim Brown, and Floyd Little, and Rob Conrad. But we don't count Rob Conrad. It's just the other three. So obviously, it was tradition at Syracuse for a long time. It just isn't anymore. They have since retired the number. So I personally, if they want to bring the tradition back, I'm fine with it. But as of right now, the number is retired. But we were discussing how it is cool how programs do that. Like at LSU with, I want to say it's number 7, or SU lacrosse with number 22. Special players get special numbers. Joey Spallina wears number 22, just like Gary Gate did. That type of thing is great, but I feel like also only works in college. When you know that the longest you're going to be there, well, previously the longest you were going to be there was 4, maybe 5 years. Now you can play college football for 7 years like Tyler Shuck and get drafted 40th overall in the NFL draft, but that's beside the point. That sort of thing only works in college. If a player whose number is retired goes out of his way and says, I want you to wear this number, a la what Warren Moon just did with Cam Ward, said, you can wear number 1. That's cool. But I feel like asking if you can wear a number that's retired is weird. Can you imagine if the Bulls had the first overall pick in the draft and they take whoever and he says, can I wear 23? What? No. And LeBron couldn't even wear 23 in Miami because they retired Jordan's number. I think that's kind of strange. Stone says also Cam Ward is a bust. Moon knows that he'll always be 1. Maybe he did that because he is not super high on Cam Ward, and he said, yeah, whatever, let this bum wear my number for 3 years before he's out of the league. That could be his motivation. But for Titans fans and Oilers fans, Warren Moon is a legend who gave up his iconic number in that uniform to the kid. And I think that's a very cool gesture. But can we not be asking, like, Hey, are we sure that number's gonna should stay retired? Can I have it? It's weird. Stop it. I don't like it one bit. It just shows a lack of understanding of history, in my opinion, for a franchise. Like, Abdul Carter could be great. And probably will be. The guy's an absolute menace on the football field. Loved watching him play at Penn State. Is he going to be Lawrence Taylor? Probably not. Because last I checked, there's only been one Lawrence Taylor. And there likely will never be another one. So that's my take on this whole one guy gets a retired number, another guy doesn't thing. Because it's just a weird phenomenon to me that we're asking now for numbers to be unretired. Have some respect for the guys that played previously, especially when it's someone like the great LT, arguably the best defensive player in the history of the NFL. Come on, man. Let him have his number stay up in the rafters at MetLife. So that's my take. Do have one more thing that I want to talk about when we come back from the break. We do have to take one more time out, and then we'll come back and talk some Syracuse transfer portal news right here on the Score 1260. If you're a fan of local craft beer, the only place you need to go is Myers Creek Brewing Company with 16 brews on tap at both the Cazenovia and Inner Harbor locations. Myers Creek has the best selection of locally brewed libations in all of Central New York. Want a nice hazy IPA? The Velvet Fog is a must-try. More of a traditional Pilsner, how about the Floatin' on By? And for you sour drinkers, the It Takes Blue to Mango. So crack open a cold one with the official beer of Outside the Box Score, Myers Creek. God, some of these ads start so loud. It's like, ugh. You guys can't hear them, but I can. Oh, it scares me. Pat, I didn't drink last night, and I've never felt healthier. Good for you, buddy. You gonna keep that up? You gonna not drink tonight, Saturday? Hmm. My body doesn't know what to do without Friday beers. Friday beers are elite. I'm absolutely. That's what I thought. That's what I thought, buddy. Hey, that's not how you train for a marathon, pal. Well, half marathon. Oh, so last night was your day off. Okay, so you go Thursday, off Friday, back on Saturday. Fair. Yeah, I got to be here for the Syracuse Mets game this afternoon. 4:05 first pitch, 3:50 pregame right here on the Score 1260. I will not be staying the entire afternoon. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I will not be here the entire time. I like when it's like a night game on a Saturday because I can leave here, play golf, and then come back. You know, I don't know if I would want to play today. Not just because of the weather, which is bad, but the fact I played 27 holes yesterday. Yeah, no golf today, dude. Weather is bad. I am playing Monday, though. I'm going to mention Pena. It's how I'm closing the show. Trevor Pena transferring to Penn State. There we go. Yeah, I am curious to see if we'll find out what the number was that he got, because he did go to Penn State, but are they going to pay up? I don't know. Penn State hasn't had a good wide receiver since. That's a great question. That's why I think it's an interesting fit, because they don't throw the ball. Drew Allar stunk, so. And we're back outside the box score with me, Mark Rowlands, your home for local sports in Syracuse, right here on the Score 1260. Some Syracuse University transfer portal news. Talked about this last week. Wide receiver from Syracuse University, Trevor Pena, all ACC selection, 84 catches last year, just shy of 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns. Has elected to go to a place that doesn't throw the football. He's going to Penn State, which is interesting given their history of not throwing the football much and not having great quarterback play, especially after he just played for Kyle McCord, who, like I mentioned earlier, broke the ACC record for passing yards. He's going to Penn State, where they're going to run the football 48 times a game, and he might get 6 targets. So good for him. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope Penn State does implement a more pass-heavy offense with a stud wide receiver like Trevor Pena. I hope he puts up numbers. I hope he ends up getting drafted out of there. But it's just an interesting move, in my opinion. And Jim says, yeah, they might have a decent shot at the college football playoff. Yeah, they probably do. It's Penn State. They win football games. Maybe he goes there and wins a national championship. I hope he does. It's just for his own future. It doesn't seem like the type of place you would have expected him to go, in my opinion. Just my humble opinion. And we also have to see what the number is for NIL for Trevor Pena, because, of course, he wanted $2 million from Syracuse University, a number that Fran Brown essentially said he's not giving anyone that isn't Jeremiah Smith out of Ohio State, which fair, very fair. And he doesn't want to pay a receiver more than he pays his coordinators. Also, absolutely fair. So I wonder what that NIL number will be for Trevor. Like I said, I wish him nothing but the best. Syracuse will certainly miss him on the offense this year. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention at the start of the show, SU got a new quarterback, Steve Angeli, out of Notre Dame. That's going to be fun. So now the competition is on between Angeli and Ricky Collins, the transfer out of LSU. So a couple of transfer quarterback options for Syracuse this year. It's going to be an interesting competition to keep up with as we get closer to the season. That's going to wrap up the show. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. right here on the Score 1260. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening, and we'll see you then. Peace.
Wake up with Maggie and Perloff, weekday morning.